Manners basically separates us from the savages. That's what I call it. It's called being civil. To be civil means that you don't belong to a tribe, and we're not in a jungle, and we have rules and etiquette that rule and govern us. All my gentlemen that I just finished having a review for the class, you didn't get up. You messed up. No, not them.
Class all over again.
Guys. There's a space up here. Right there, David. Manner separates us from the savages. It's having civility. Now, I told my class the other day, I said, you're going to go to heaven if you chew with your mouth open. You will go to heaven if you spit on the sidewalk. You will go to heaven if you tailgate somebody. You're going to go to heaven as long as your heart is clean and you're safe from sin. But does that make you does that make you a viable person, especially those that are younger, for the future companion? I gave the example of something that a lady should not do, and I went around the room and I asked a question. At first everybody's like, some people were like, oh, I don't think it's such a big deal. So I asked the adults, a girl doing this, I can't do the sound, and then does that whistle, how does that come across to you? Let me ask the gentlemen, the older ones. Brother Jose.
Very cool.
Very cool? How did I know you were going to say that? We'll take a consensus. Brother Tico. I don't think that doing this and whistling one time is not uncool or not cool. I don't think that a girl, a lady that does this frequently is a lady. That's not a lady. It's not. I'm sorry, ladies, because to be a lady, that means that we have to have a higher standard than just being a woman. A lady is a lady. That defines her as a lady. Otherwise, then you're just a woman. A lady is somebody that has a certain set of etiquettes that apply only to her, and so do gentlemen. Now, let's talk about the spitting on the sidewalk. Do you know that you're not supposed to spit at all? Ever in public? I don't care if you're a man. You do not spit in public on the sidewalk. You don't spit anywhere. Nobody should see your fluids coming out. That is a no-no. So men that do this think, oh, yo soy macho, and they on the side. This is unacceptable. This is not good. And the reason why we're going to go into all these details is because society, through time, has become degraded of what true manners and etiquette means. I'm more concerned, the most concern I have is for the young people and what they will teach their children. We've lost a lot of please and thank you and excuse me in our society. And there's a scripture that I would like to go to first. It's Philippians chapter 2, verse 3 through 5. And Louis, with your loud, strong voice, please stand up, turn the other way and read it. Whoever finds it first, Anthony or Louis. Philippians 2, 3 and 5. 3 through 5.
Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves.
3 through 5. You guys read the 5.
Look not every man on his own thing, but every man also on the things of others. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Jesus Christ.
It says to esteem the other, which is deference, what we're talking about. Courtesy is used to spare another person of embarrassment. When you're in a situation and you use manners, you're sparing somebody else of their embarrassment. You're allowing the other person to be first, and you're allowing the other person to feel comfortable. Let's begin with the basics. I'm going to go through this very fast because I have to do actually a quick review because you're going to miss the big chunk of what I already taught the young people. And it is basically the greeting. Where do greetings begin? And young people, do not raise your hand. Wow, I'm not used to classes that participate. I will call your name, so Brother Miguel, yes. Where do greetings begin? Where should greetings begin? The essence of greeting. Where does that begin?
Where the essence of greeting?
What does
Good morning with the
where is the basis of your greeting? When should a greeting start? When should you learn to start to greet people?
Oh, when you're a child.
Where? In what setting?
At home. Yes. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't get the
Many
question.
times, and especially I see this a lot today in our society, we do not greet one another in the home. We take each other for granted. We get up in the morning, we go to the bathroom, and we pass our sibling or we pass our spouse, and we don't even say good morning. We're like grunting something on the way to the bathroom. I am not a morning person at all. My husband knows we do not have conversations in the morning. There's no energy in me. I have no focus in my mind to have a whole conversation in the morning when I first wake up. He needs to give me about half an hour. But I still say good morning. He still will tell me good morning. I tell him good morning. Did you sleep well? Did you sleep good? Those are things that are the essence of our society, that what brings us to be civil and not savages. Children have a habit of doing this. They walk past their brother, their sister, and they don't say good morning. They get home from work or from school, and the first thing they say is, "What's for dinner, Mom?" They don't say, "Hi, Mom, how are you?" You don't have to have the whole "How do you do, ma'am?" You don't have to do that, but you do have to exchange some kind of acknowledgement that the person is there. There you go.
I was gonna say, because this is one of my pet peeves at work. People cannot say good morning. They just say morning.
That's correct.
Even in an email communication, it's so hard for
Good
them to say,
AM.
yes, or just morning, and so, which is seems like something.
There's some room there, and there's room by Sister Millie, and there's room over here. Brother Ignacio, Brother Anthony. Thank you. Okay, that is correct. The reason why I bring that up is because now in the professional world, people don't say good morning. If they say it, they grunt it, but sometimes they don't even say it. They're just in a bad mood and they just walk in straight to the desk and they don't even want to say good morning. This is the essence of civility, is to have a greeting. The handshake. There's a rule for the handshake. Your handshake should not be, ladies, soft and wimpy and wet and I don't know. It doesn't make you more feminine to go like this, and this is wrong. A handshake should always be firm, men and women alike. It should be firm. The 3-second rule. How are you? Think in your head. How are you? That's it. After 3 seconds, it gets weird. You don't do that. You don't hold the person's hand talking to them. This is very strange and very creepy, and it's creepier for ladies to feel that. Men and women should shake hands for 3 seconds. You don't count it. You don't go, I can't say how are you. I'm thinking, don't do that. Just, it's a rule of thumb. How are you? And that's it. And it should be firm. It shouldn't be hard that you're crushing the bones of the person, but it shouldn't be wimpy and soft. Sorry.
No, another thing that I just wanted to say about the handshake, because the lady reserves the right whether she wants to shake that gentleman's hand or not.
That is correct.
So a gentleman should never extend his hand to a lady. He needs to wait for the lady
That's
to
correct.
extend his hand.
You should defer to the lady to extend your hand because maybe she doesn't want to shake your hand, which there has to be a set of reasons for that. Okay, in groups, and I'm going very fast. When we're in groups and you're in a party, let's say you're at somebody's house and you're all in the living room sitting down, and somebody walks in. I know because the Spanish people, we don't do it. You're supposed to rise up to greet the person. You just don't sit there on the sofa and have the person bending over their back trying to say, "Oh, hi, sister, hi, brother." You should rise up, especially if you're a man. If you're a gentleman, the gentleman rises up to say hello to the lady. The lady shouldn't have to be bending over a sofa trying to get over to you. Now, when we're in a party and there's a lot of people, this is not necessary because then you're beginning up all day. But we're talking about like there's a dinner party, like 5 people coming over for dinner. The people on the sofa should rise up and meet the guest that just came in. Men, gentlemen, if you're in an office, if you're in a bus, if you're on a train, if you're in a medical facility, if you're anywhere in a bank and you're in a waiting room, who are you supposed to stand up for? Men and women, who is supposed to stand up first of all? The man or the woman? Up. Rihanna? Both. Women should get up for whom? Not young people. Let's see what they know.
The elderly and the sick.
Lo viejo for the old people. And who else? Who else should women get up for? A pregnant woman or a woman holding a baby. A woman holding a man, a man that even it's an old man and he's sick. A woman should get up and offer her seat. Okay, let me explain to you how we offer our seats. We don't offer our seats by saying, "Do you want my seat?" Did you know that? You don't say, "Do you want my seat?" Do you think somebody's gonna go, "Yeah, I want your seat"? You're making them uncomfortable. The issue of manners is to make the other person feel comfortable. So what you say is, please, you offer it and you say, please take my seat, and you insist and you get up. Especially a gentleman, please take my seat, and you just walk away and you leave the seat vacant. That's what a gentleman does. A woman should do it as well, again, for the older people. Men should get up for other men if they're older. So if Brother Wilmer's in a waiting room, and there's nobody that old in here, but let's say my father, or Brother T, sorry, but I have to respect my elders. Brother T walks in, Brother Wilmer needs to get up and offer Brother T a seat. Just because he's another man doesn't mean anything. These are, again, the rules of civility, of keeping everything in its right perspective, so we don't forget that we're not belonging to a tribe anymore. Oh, we don't belong to a tribe. Okay, getting the door. Who gets the door? No young people right now. Who gets the door? Ivy? Sister Ivy? You want to take a guess? Who gets the door? Brother Ignacio, who do you think gets the door? That's right. It depends on the situation. Whoever arrives at the door first gets the door. Now, if there's a woman and a man, and there's a man here and a woman here, like right there, like, you know, this proximity, the man needs to rush up and get the door. But if a woman is here and there's a man back here, this is ridiculous. She's standing there waiting for the man. But I've seen it. She needs to open the door for the person behind her. You should open the door for the person behind you. But the man's instinct should be run and let me get the door. I'm talking about not of a car. I'm talking about of a regular building. You should open the door and leave the door for the regardless of gender. Okay, introductions. Young people have a big problem in this area, and this has happened before, and I think parents is the good opportunity for you to teach your child. You're in public and you're with your daughter, your son, you're in the mall, and they see a friend from school, and they start talking, brother, and you're transparent. You're like, if you're not there, when they leave, when that student leaves or that friend of theirs leaves, that's the perfect time for you to say, I'm not invisible. You need to, that's a teaching tool to teach your children. You need to introduce me. You need to introduce anybody that's standing with you when another person comes up. It is just rude for you to have a conversation with another person and the other person's there and you do not make an introduction. This is lost in young people today. I mean, I see it all the time. Even young people with other young people. Another friend comes up and they're, oh my goodness, did you see this? Did you see that? And they forget about the other person that doesn't even know them. You introduce. When we make introductions, the first person that gets introduced is who? Two people. There's two people. Who gets introduced first? Okay, let's make it this way. Let's say it's Brother T again and Brother Wilmer. And they don't know each other. And I'm the middle person. Who do I introduce to who first?
Brother T.
That's right. I introduce the lesser person, sorry, you'll get there one day, to the superior person. The lesser person gets introduced to the superior person. This shows respect. This shows that you're acknowledging that the superior needs to know who's around them. This is just simple little everyday things. Okay, elevators. Oh, this is one of my favorites. When you go into an elevator, where do you go into the elevator? Sister Millie, when you enter an elevator, where do you go into the elevator? That is correct. You walk to the back of the elevator. You're not going to be the bellman, okay? That was in the 40s. We don't need a bellman. You don't hog up the numbers for yourself like, oh, what floor? And you're like on top of it because you want to be the first one out when it's your floor. You go to the back of the elevator, always. Now, if you enter the elevator, let's say it's me and Sister Nelly, and we're going to the elevator together, and we're talking, because I got these shoes at Macy's, right? And then the elevator's full of people. We don't continue talking about the shoes at Macy's in the elevator. I know, this is all so weird, right? It's like, who cares? I'm gonna go to heaven. I know, but it makes you a more excellent person. We just read the scripture. That's very important, to defer to your fellow man. And it's uncomfortable for somebody in the elevator to hear your conversations about Macy's. Now, keep it light. Oh, I like those shoes, that's fine. But don't keep on, oh, but I got them on sale, can you believe it? Minimize your conversation. Same thing with a cell phone. You are not supposed to talk on your cell phone in an elevator. You're not, unless you're alone, because other people are hearing your conversation and it's uncomfortable. Don't you feel uncomfortable when you're around a conversation in person that doesn't pertain to you and you're standing there and it's awkward and you don't know, should I be talking or not talking? That's what you do in an elevator. You do not talk on the phone and you do not have a conversation. Whispering, guess what? Whispering is worse. That's like telling somebody a secret in public, like this, in their ear. We don't do that, obviously. Well, the same thing is with elevator whispering. The person in front of you doesn't know if you're talking about their shoes or they don't know. So it's an uncomfortable thing. We don't do that. All right. Walking. I'm going fast because I have to do a review. Walking. Where do we walk in malls and shopping centers and sidewalks? Where do we walk? Say it all together. 1, 2, 3. Right. We stay on our right. We don't have stationary moments where we stop in the middle of a crowd, like in an amusement park, and decide, oh, look at that over there, and everybody's coming behind you, and you just stop there gawking. We don't do that. There's rules for walking. You don't stop abruptly, and you don't stay stuck there either. You move to the side. It's like driving. You kind of like veer off to the side, which brings me to umbrellas and backpacks. When you have on a backpack, young people, what are you supposed to do in a crowded place? Take it off. It's respect to the person. You're bumping him and bumping her, and you don't even know. You're not even saying, excuse me. You just take off your backpack. Umbrellas. How do you hold an umbrella? Or a cane. How do you hold an umbrella? Sister Noreen, how do you think you hold an umbrella? Horizontally or vertically? Vertically. Why is that? Look at this. If this is my umbrella and I hold it horizontally, it's sticking out. I'm hitting all kinds of people here and I don't even care. I'm poking him, poking her. You hold it like this. And when you come into a building and it's raining outside, you don't shake your umbrella. Do you do it in your house? Do you shake the umbrella wet inside your house? So then don't do it in an office, and you don't do it in a church, and you don't do it anywhere. Or in a post office, you do it outside. And then you let that drippy, yucky stuff fall on you. Not on the other person. That has to do again with courtesy and manners. We're just talking about simple rules that are lost. Some of the older folk probably are thinking, I can't believe I'm even hearing this because I can't believe this has to be said out loud. But it does, because we've lost it and we don't know. It's not an American thing. It's an actual manners thing. It's etiquette. It's being gracious. To be gracious is to defer. It is to spare, again, someone else of embarrassment. All right. Don't talk on your cell phone and walk at the same time unless you're looking ahead. Don't text on your toes. This is horrible. This happens every day. I see it all the time in my building. Walking like this, and they're just walking, boom, into the person. They don't even paying attention. They're hogging up all the whole walkway. You can't even walk in the building because they're texting and looking at their phone. Don't walk and text. Don't drive and text. Same rules apply. All right. Now we're going to talk about grooming in public. Girls, we do not brush our hair in public. We do not clip our fingernails in public. We do not pick our nose in public. All these things that probably older people are like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Yes, but this happens all the time. You don't groom in public. Men do not cut their fingernails in public. They don't cut anything in public. But speaking of grooming, when you're in the privacy of your home, especially men, please be sure that you always trim. You have to look in the mirror. I ask the young people, some of you already married, you're like, oh, who cares, I'm already hitched. Doesn't matter. You have to look presentable for your spouse. But I told the young people, if you want to attract a mate that is of this standard, then you're going to have to raise your game to this standard. You can't keep it down here and expect to get somebody up here. That's not going to happen. I'm sorry. Like, we're going to go back to the whistling thing. You know, if you're going to want a mate that is accepting that kind of behavior from a lady all the time, then that's fine. Then that's what you're going to get. Sister Carl, I don't think that's what he does. I know he just said it was cool. Hey, do it once. That's not what I meant. Everybody, I understand. I'm talking about a frequent thing, that it's a habit of a girl to be like, you know, a tomboy. All right. No brushing, no clipping the nails. Yawning. Your yawn should never be audible. No one should hear your yawn. It shouldn't be. I hear this in church. I'm sitting there and I hear it. Yeah. It's like number one, it's rude, but number two, you're sending a message as if the preacher is boring you. Maybe you're not bored. Maybe you're just tired and you were up all night and you couldn't sleep. But it's rude to the preacher. It's rude to people around you. The other thing is, we do not want to see your larynx, your esophagus. We don't want to see your throat. Please cover your mouth when you yawn. That includes burping. Shouldn't be hearing your burps, your belching, none of that. Men think that's kind of funny and cool with other parts of their body that they like to do that, you know, those sounds. This is not for public. purposes. This is for the privacy of your bedroom if your wife wants to put up with it.
Not even
That's
cracking.
bottom line.
Not even cracking your knuckles or something.
You shouldn't be cracking your knuckles, no, Kevin. That's like not a good thing to say. Say excuse me if something comes out. If something does happen, say, I'm sorry, excuse me. When we chew gum, Brother Pastor said it the other day, and I just said in Sunday school class, you do not chew gum in public before your superior. You shouldn't go to your boss chewing gum. This is unacceptable. My boss one time, and I told my class, he took the garbage can from underneath the desk and put it to a manager, and the manager didn't understand why he was doing that. And he goes, spit your gum out, like that. The owner of the company. That's embarrassing. You do not chew in front of your superior. You don't chew in church. You don't chew in a wedding. You don't chew in a funeral. You don't chew smacking. There should be no audible sounds. No popping. I can't do the sound. No popping. None of that. Young people, you guys do it amongst yourselves. But when you are in a superior or in a formal setting, you don't do that. It's just bad manners. When you're invited somewhere, you always ask the host or the hostess, what can I bring? If the host or the hostess says no, which most of the times they say no, there's nothing because I have everything covered, you still bring something anyway. Does that mean that you bring a cake? No. Does it mean that you have to bring a brisket? No. It doesn't mean that. It just means you bring something, like maybe some flowers or a little candle or a little card. That's what that means. It means to defer. Again, we're going to go back to deferring. It means to make the hostess feel like she's the special one because she did something for you. Okay. If you need to spit out something while you're eating, this is a big no-no. If there's something you just bit into and it disgusts you, which it happens, like you're eating a steak and there's a vein inside or a blubber or gristle, or let's ladies talk about that, the dreaded hair that appears in your food. You do not at the table go, oh my goodness, there's a hair in my food. You are going to embarrass that host or hostess because believe me, her intention was not to add hair to her recipe. It wasn't. I know it's disgusting because if it was my own hair, I would be disgusted, but it can happen. It can happen. Unless you're wearing a hairnet, it can happen that something fell. I don't know. It's disgusting. You don't have to eat it. But you don't have to make a comment. Keep it to yourself. It's embarrassing enough as it is. You don't have to say it out loud. Look, oh, that's my hair. Just discreetly, and this can happen with anything in your mouth that you don't like. You get a napkin and you wipe it over and you put it in the napkin. That's it. You don't comment about it. You don't talk about it. You don't go, ew. None of that. You just, and I talk with my face. But I know I have to control myself that when I'm in public, I can't do that. Like, you don't do that. You just discreetly put it away. ATMs, I'm all over the place, I know, because there's so much to talk about. ATMs, you know there's an etiquette for ATMs? Brother Johnny, what do you think that etiquette is? Etiquette for ATMs. The ATM machine, where you go get money out. Can he hear me? Okay, what's the etiquette for ATMs, Sister Janet? That is correct. You do not hover. You do not get close to the person while they're taking out money. First of all, the person's uncomfortable because they want to keep their stuff secret, private. It's private. That's their business transaction. You shouldn't be over there breathing down their neck. First of all, looking at what they're doing. Number two, to rush them. You're going to have your time. Give space. This is the same thing when you're driving. You don't tailgate. You don't do that because it's rude. You don't hover on top of the thing. Going to driving. We talked about tailgating, but we know that we live in Miami. Do you know that Miami came out number one? Number one as the rudest rudest drivers. And the top 10 worst drivers. What does that mean? That if you learn how to drive here, you can pretty much drive anywhere. But this means that there's going to be a lot of aggressive driving and people that are really going to annoy you, which is practically every 15 minutes. So you have to develop thick skin, and you're gonna have to make sure that you use the tools in your car appropriately. I know we've heard it many times from the pulpit before about our horn. We don't use our horn as a threatening device. We use it as an information device. Like, beep, beep, you're crossing over into my thing. You don't lean on your horn. You never make eye contact with an aggressive driver. You don't do that. And most certainly, we do not tailgate. We don't do that. People can do it do it all the time. They're on top of you. I personally can't stand it because I feel like they're gonna hit me. In the state of Florida, doesn't matter. Even if the person in front of you slammed on their brakes to look at a chicken crossing the road, if you hit them, you're getting the ticket. That's it. It doesn't matter because the driving manual says that you're supposed to have 2 to 3 spaces in between. So that means you're supposed to have enough time to be able to stop. So if you're going 80 and the guy slams on his brakes and you hit him, you're getting the ticket. Even if it's his that's stupid and he stopped, we agree, you're getting the ticket. So don't tailgate because it's not good manners, driving manners. Attire. What color should never be worn to a wedding? Don't ask young people. I don't want the young people to know, to tell me. Okay, Alexandra, I'll let you. No, you can wear red. Nope, you can wear black. Speak up. Why don't girls wear white to a wedding? I just went to a wedding and there was a lady that was 55 years old wearing a white dress. It is to defer. We're gonna go back to the word defer. It is a great word, I love it. It is to give precedence to the bride. It is her day. She's the only one in white, not you. Only her. No, man, you can wear your white shirts. I mean the ladies. We don't wear a white dress. Funerals. We don't wear flowers. We don't wear pinks, reds, purples, anything bright, yellow, tropical. I don't care that we live in Miami. We don't wear tropical clothes to a funeral. We wear muted colors, somber colors, because you're respecting again that a person is dead and the family is mourning them. So you're not supposed to be all festive and happy like there's a party. And Spanish people, with all respect to Cubans, because I'm half of one, it is super disrespectful in a funeral to be like, I mean, there's like the whole pastelito thing and the Cuban coffee all over the place, which is fine, but keep it away from the area where the body is being tended. You should go towards the back, because that is disrespectful again to the family that's mourning. You have to have a somber time, a quiet time. Okay. In public, when you're wearing, again, we're going back to the public view, no ragged hymns. You know what a ragged hymn is? What's a ragged hymn, Anthony? Yeah, when your thread is coming out, your hem is coming out. We don't go out in public with stains on our clothes. We don't go out with spots, wrinkles, like, spaghetti sauce, ketchup, pizza from last night. We don't do that. Not only because we're Christians and we represent Christ, which is the big one, because when my children go out, they represent me. If I don't pay attention and I realize something they're wearing that is wrong, I am so upset because they're representing me. We represent Christ. So apart from the fact that we have a standard, we also want to represent excellence. And we should be, you can be poor, dirt poor, and still look presentable, clean, ironed, no raggedy hems, faded clothes you can't even see, it's so faded, all dingy and a little get rid of that. You're not in a third world country, and nobody here is that bad off that they can't get rid of an old faded shirt that's almost transparent. Move on to the next piece of clothing. I know you love it, but use it for your house to clean. All right. We don't wear white socks, men. We don't wear white socks with dress clothes. Brother T's shaking his head because he would never do that, right, Brother T? You're not gonna wear white socks with a suit. You don't wear white socks with slacks. You don't wear white socks with any dress-up clothing. You can preserve that for your jeans. I'm shocking you, yeah. Some of you are like, okay. You don't wear dressy lace-up shoes, dressy shoes with your jeans. You just don't do this. There's an appropriate attire for everything and every occasion. For a party, same thing. You dress accordingly. When there's a wedding, you take out your best wear. It's like for church, we come with our best wear. We don't come before God all raggedy and all. You represent Christ. Okay, when do men take their hats off? Let's ask Brother David, who loves wearing hats. I didn't go over this with him at home, so let's see if he because I had to study this. Some of the stuff that I'm telling you, it's not because Sister Kayla knows it all and did it. Oh, no. Some of the stuff, I was taught very well, but still, I learned some stuff from what I've been studying. I'm doing the book from Emily Post, who's famous for that, for etiquette. And I had to learn stuff myself. So, Brother David, when do men take their hats off?
First of all, in buildings, take your hat off. You don't wear a hat also,
in all buildings?
all
I'm helping you because if I'm asking you that, it must be because it's not.
buildings that are like church, federal buildings, things like that. And you always take your hat off for the lady.
That's correct. You remove your hat, gentlemen, including your baseball cap. When you enter a home, you have to take off your hat. When you sit at any kind of dinner table, whether it's a restaurant, anything, you take off your hat. When the national anthem is played, you take off your hat. And when our flag is being passed by, if you're in a parade, which I don't know if you go to a parade, but if you do, you take off your hat. That's what gentlemen do. Ladies, when do we take off our hats if we're wearing a hat? No, it's not true. Same thing. If a national anthem is played, you take off your hat. If the flag is passing by, you take off your hat. And if it's a baseball cap, you take it off inside the house, and you take it off in the restaurants. Okay? All right. All of the times it can be left on. We do not go in public with our curlers on. I don't think we have much of that problem here, but I know I have to say it. Just in case you think you're gonna go out in rollers or curlers, we do not do this in public. If you need to go out in your rollers and your curlers because you're getting ready for a wedding because it's happened, then you put a scarf over it or a hat or something, cover that up. But don't be having those pink things all over, hold up on there. Men, my husband, I'll tell you something about my husband that I really like. This has been since I've known him, since before we were even courting. He always, my father too, carries a handkerchief. This is such a wonderful thing for me as a lady to see a man with a handkerchief. I think it's so classy and nice. Who cares what I think? I'm already married, but I'm just telling you. I just think it's nice. It's an attractive quality. And I asked some of the girls, what do you think about that? And they all nodded their head. And my grandfather taught him something and said, which I love that about my grandfather. He said, always carry two. And he carries two. Let me tell you why. One for yourself and one to offer. Of course, you douse them with cologne. Put them in cologne, you pat them. And the other one you offer to a lady if she's crying or has a cold or weeping in front of you. I cannot tell you how many times he's had to do that for me. And he's done it for other ladies. And I find that to be such a nice, classy thing for a man to extend a handkerchief to a lady. If a woman is sobbing in front of you and you don't have a handkerchief, the least you can do is get some tissue or ask somebody, do you have tissue? And give it to her. Just like when there's ladies that are kneeling at the altar and they have difficulty getting up. They don't have to be old. Some women have problems with their back. A man should assist the lady with her hand and help her get up. If you see her struggling and she's stuck on her knees, help her get up. Same thing in your pew. You have to move over in your pew when somebody's coming up. You rise up or you move down to make space in your pew for the person to sit down. Who had their hand raised? So Janet? That is, I guess, up to the person. It's my husband, so I keep it and I take it home and wash it. But I think it's right for the lady to say, I'll take it home and wash it. I mean, you put your snot all over, I don't think he wants it back. Full of snot and tears. And I think you should take it home and iron it and bring it back. That's what I think. But there's not a thing for that. Okay. When we go out to eat in groups, this is very common with young people, and some of the younger adults do this also. When you go out in groups, when it's time to pay, this is a problem. The person that's organizing the event, right, and gets the bill, you do not come to the person and say, oh, I had $10 sushi, here's my $10. Nope. I know, that doesn't sound right. Does it sound like I'm saying something wrong? It sounds like I'm saying something wrong, because if it's $10, it's $10. Why is it wrong? Johnny's confused. He's looking at me like, Brother Miguel.
Because there's tax and there's tip.
There's tax and there's tip. If you ate a bowl of rice and that's all you ate, and everybody else had lobster, you do not say, I only had rice, so I'm only going to get this. You know what's going to happen? You're not going to be invited again. You're not. If you want to be included and you want to be part of a group, expect everything to be even. Otherwise, don't go. If you see that if you have a problem with your stomach for a few weeks or a few months and you're eating very little, then people should respect that. But in general rule, you don't start calculating, well, she had that palomilla and I had chicken and it's $5. And I said, why am I paying? That's so tacky. We do not do that. That's bad manners. The right thing is let the person that's doing the bill look at it. She splits it up and says, okay, everybody, it's $10 a piece or $15 a piece, whatever. But you do not start. Now, if you want to avoid it all, either you don't go or you ask for a separate bill. That's the simplest way to put it. I cannot tell you how many times an organizer has organized an event and gets stuck having to pay for a big chunk of bill because people have done just what I just said. When you're invited in a group, you do not invite someone else to come along without asking the person that organized it first. You first go, let's say it's Natalie, and Natalie organized something, and we go to the thing, and I decide I'm gonna bring my neighbor, which leads me to the next point. I'm gonna bring my neighbor with me, or my friend from work, and I don't tell Natalie. That's not right. You should ask Natalie, is it okay if I bring a friend? Is it okay if this person comes? That's what you do. Because sometimes we just want to keep at a certain group, a certain intimacy, and then you bring all these other people, and then it becomes this huge thing, and maybe there's not space in the restaurant for that. You have to take in consideration. Remember we're talking about deference. That means other people are first and you're last. Speaking of that, and I always use this joke with my husband. When we got married 23 years ago, the RSVP thing wasn't really that much of a big deal. And of course, the pastor's daughter, everybody was invited, whatever. I met people at my wedding that I did not know, and my husband didn't know. That's strange. I shouldn't have people at my wedding that I don't know or my husband doesn't know at all. Nor did my parents or his parents. I had people come up to me and say, hey, I brought my neighbor. Literally, I promise you. I said, oh, I have my neighbor. Here's my neighbor. That's so strange. First of all, I don't understand why a person would want to go to a wedding that they don't know anybody there. But I guess it's free food. You do not do this. You do not go to places where you were not invited. This is bad manners. Okay. I'm trying to hurry because they're giving me a sign back there. When you're at the table, back to the table, we don't clean our gums like this. Cleaning. We don't pick at our teeth. Trying to get that thing that's stuck in there. Ask the host or hostess for a toothpick, or ask to be excused to the bathroom. Ask for some floss, and don't do it in front of everybody. But don't, in the restaurant, go in there digging and something's stuck in there. Don't put your fingers inside of your mouth. This is bad manners again. And you that have little children, this begins at home. It all begins at home, because then I wouldn't. If everybody was doing it at home, I wouldn't be having to have this conversation right now. Because I see it all the time, even at work, all the time. They're digging. It's so unpleasant. I don't even want to finish eating. Has everybody seen that? Has it disgusted you?
It is gross.
It is gross. Okay. All right. When is it, when you're in public, that you get in the line to get food? And I have to say this because this is a dinner thing here constantly. So, we never lunge at the food. We don't act like this might be our last meal on earth. I don't understand till this day why people do that. When we live in the land of good and plenty, why we have to lunge at the food like it's gonna run out. Who cares if it runs out? You eat when you get home. We don't live in a country where there's no more food. Please have respect for yourself. Do you not see that people are looking at you and you're lunging like savages? And your plate shouldn't be a pile like this. I'm sorry. You have a line of people. Do you know how many people are in this congregation? It's like 230 people, I think. All those people are lined behind you, and your plate is like this. You get a moderate plate, a little bit of this, a little bit. It's okay that it's full. It's all right. It shouldn't be heaping. You have to use your two hands. And then there's people back there. By the time that number 75 gets up, they ran out. Sorry, there's no more chicken strips. It happens all the time. If there's a chicken strip platter, take one piece of chicken strip. Believe me, they're gonna say, "Hey, anybody wants more? You can come back again." Wait till everybody goes through. It's a party. It's a gathering. It's a time of fellowship. It's not a time to just stuff your face. I don't understand. You should have eaten, if you're that hungry, you should have eaten at home. Or go to Maruch. They enjoy your business. There's a time for that. You shouldn't do that. Be aware of the person. And of course, my personal favorite, please move your line along. Because there's people back there that are sick, elderly, tired, their feet hurt, women in heels, and they're standing in line, and you're taking your, is that blue cheese? I don't like those carrots, just smaller ones. Please move the line along, and then later, which happened the other night, there was so much food left over, you can go and eat all you want to. But first, be aware that there are people behind you. This is very important. Another thing we don't do at the table, we don't sing or whistle at the table. I know this comes as a shock to most of you. My mother taught me that when I was young. You do not sing or whistle at the table. So don't let your children do it. You don't. Why is that? Why do you think that is? It's bad manners. That's what he said it very simply. It's just bad manners. You don't do it. The time for the table is for eating, and you discuss or sing or whatever. You can do it later, or you can discuss and talk at the table. Minimal. After you finish processing the food in your mouth. I don't want your spaghetti on my face, and you cover your mouth. When you sneeze, you instantly cover your mouth, whether it's this, but cover your mouth. They won't chew. I've seen it in service, and people's necks get sprayed because somebody behind them, but I've seen it. Somebody behind them is sneezing and is left, that brother, that sister, I feel so bad because I see them discreetly trying to clean their neck. What is that? Please have respect and cover your mouth. It is just, again, it is just manners. When you're talking to someone, don't talk in close proximity on top of them like that. Number one, you may have bad halitosis, bad breath, which you should keep mints with you. Ladies and gentlemen, you should always have mints because you're top of the person right here talking to them and you're making them uncomfortable and they feel the hot breath all over you. That's reserved for your intimacy with your spouse. That's not reserved for you to be in public like that. And I ran out of time. Thank you for your attention.
Very good.
See you on the other side.